Heavenly Father, thank you for this another wonderful day. Please be with us as we discuss the business dealings of this wonderful institution. Look after its students and staff for this summer. In the Lord's name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Preliminary matter, sir.
Very good. We have a number of resolutions, and these are some very long-standing and valuable employees. I'm going to take them in a little bit reverse order. I'd like Joseph Smith, and I know your wife is with you, and your colleagues to come forward, please. Coming. Joseph A. Smith began his career as a coordinator of student activities and a student government advisor on the Tarpon Springs campus in 1989. And whereas Mr. Smith transferred to the St. Petersburg Gibbs campus 2 years later, becoming a student activity specialist, he soon moved on to academic advising. His mentoring included Project Success, Campus Crusade for Christ, and the InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. And whereas Mr. Smith spent 3 years as the Midtown Site Coordinator from 2003 to 2006, in addition to his duties as at the St. Petersburg Gibbs campus. And whereas Mr. Smith is a dedicated advisor, always willing to give his best to his students and the college, his dedication has been recognized by the Dr. Mac J. Williams Excellence Awards Committee and the Campus Incidents Response Team. And whereas Mr. Smith has extended his dedication and commitment to his community by serving on the Juvenile Welfare Board for 9 years, 3 years as chairman, Pinellas County's Personnel Board for 12 years, Clearwater Christian College's Board of Directors for 10 years, the Big Brothers Big Sisters Board for 2 years, and the Pinellas County 4-H Club for 2 years. Now therefore be it resolved that the St. Petersburg College Board of Trustees and the total college community hereby recognize and appreciate the outstanding contributions to the college and to the community by Joseph A. Smith and extend to him our best wishes for enjoyment throughout the years ahead, said resolution being adopted and approved by the Board of Trustees this 17th day of June 2014. Hear, hear. Congratulations. We're going to do this. Scooch over a little bit. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Couple quick words. You get a chance to say goodbye quickly. Watch.
I wish I could say something like hello to all my friends. Hello. I wish I could get $1 million. 1 out of 2 is not bad. I cannot say all the words that are bottlenecking right now, but in the year that I started at the college in Tarpon, I learned a very important word, sagapopole. I love you. And as I say that, I could say the same to this guy here. I love you, sagapopole.
I was trying to miss this.
Okay, but truly, it's been a wonderful experience, a loving experience, a worthwhile experience of growth, of education, and great endearment. And I've had so many questions as to what I should do and what I will be doing subsequent to my time here at the college, and I've resolved that the bottom line, amongst all the other things, I'm going to be a house husband. I want to thank you for being a part of my life for the last 25 years. Dr. White, Tyrone. My fearless leader, our supervisor, Jenny. Darlene. And of course, Pat. It's been a very, very wonderful time. And I'm exceedingly grateful to my wife, my bride, who's been with me and worked with me and told me all the things I should do and taught me how to be a house husband, which I'm going to try out for very, very hard, I promise, in front of all these people. But more importantly, what made it all possible was the Lord Jesus Christ and my relationship with him. In the thick and in the thin, I have had happiness, which is interpreted as blessedness. So I've been blessed, and I am blessed. That's what is translated from the original Greek and Hebrew in the scriptures. Blessed. I am a happy man, and I thank God for that.
Thank you. You have to sign his form. Step over here. Good. Thank you. I'll fake it. Mark Lulek. Get that pen back. You got to sign one of these. As soon as I come in. Yeah, go ahead, sign that one. Sorry.
To the office, that was a
There you go.
mistake.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. Honorary, step forward, please. There we go. Mark Lulek began his career at the Tarpon Springs campus in 1988 as an adjunct faculty member in the communications department, becoming full-time in 1990. He earned a degree in traditional Chinese medicine and studied humanities at California State University while transitioning into the St. Petersburg College Humanities Department. And whereas Dr. Lulek was promoted to academic department chair in 2008 and contributed significantly to the activities and successes of the Humanities and Fine Arts Department on the Tarpon Springs campus, and whereas Dr. Lulek's campus leadership includes organizations of the American Foundation of Greek Language and Culture, piloting the International Center for Hellenic Studies, directing the campus student arts charrette, and establishing music and mirror courses at the Tarpon campus, and whereas Dr. Lulek's department leadership includes updating the college's credential standards, chairing the Humanities Committee as it developed critical thinking instruments, presenting his work at an Innovations National Conference in 2012, and establishing a museum internship program that connects St. Petersburg College with art galleries and museums throughout the Tampa Bay area. And whereas Dr. Lulek is an exemplary professor who modeled his best techniques for classroom management and student learning, his professionalism will continue to be regarded as an example for others to follow. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the St. Petersburg College Board of Trustees and the total college community hereby recognize and appreciate the outstanding contributions to the college and to the community by Mark Lulek and extend to him our best wishes for enjoyment throughout the years ahead. Said resolution being adopted and approved by the Board of Trustees this 17th day of June 2014. Hear, hear. Congratulations. What a great career. Let's do a couple of pictures here. Okay, Bill, come on, step up. Bill, have a picture with me.
The 24 years here at St. Petersburg College went really fast. Was most rewarding, most fulfilling, particularly for all the people I worked with. And I was always proud to work at St. Petersburg College. I think we do really good work here. Thank you so much.
Oh, my. John P. Lenges. It's JR. How many people are? Wow. I don't know. Who been sending those checks to? Stand right here. Okay. You're with us.
Have you guys kind of scoot in a little more?
You gotta move over a little bit. Come on, you're right up here. You get in the front here. There you go. All right. John P. Lenges, known as JR to his many friends and colleagues, began his career as a maintenance trades worker at St. Petersburg Gibbs campus of St. Petersburg College in 1974, exhibiting remarkable skills that solved many problems for students, faculty, and staff. Whereas Mr. Lenges was promoted to site supervisor for facility services in 1994, serving for the next 20 years in this supervisory capacity at the Allstate Center, Clearwater Campus, Epicenter, Health Education Center, and the St. Petersburg Gibbs campus. And whereas JR served as vice chairman of the Career Services Council, was a member of the Wellness Committee, and served on the Facility Standards Committee during his time of employment. While serving on the Career Services Council, he was responsible for initiating the Career Services Emeritus Award, which recognizes outstanding retired career service employees. And whereas JR was instrumental in creating the Facilities Team Scholarship Award, which has, over the years, granted 50 scholarships to deserving students, now therefore be it resolved that the St. Petersburg College Board of Trustees and the total college community hereby recognizes and appreciates the outstanding contributions of the college by J.R. Lenges and extends to him our best wishes for enjoyment through the years ahead. Said resolution being adopted and approved by the Board of Trustees, St. Petersburg College, the 17th day of June, 2014. Hear, hear.
Only job you read on there is president. If I did all this, I was way underpaid.
We're going to get everywhere. We're going to do this. Okay. Then one, and then we'll get.
3, 2, 1.
There we go. Jump in.
Right here.
Good enough, JR. You get a couple minutes.
Okay, I'd say a couple things. After you read that off, all these guys in the white shirts are way underpaid for what we do here. But, I do want to thank everybody working at all those sites. Got to know a lot of people that are in this room. And, real good friendships with everybody. With this job one word is challenges. We all accept challenges, but some of the people in this behind me here are the only ones that can take the word challenges, underline the last 6 letters, and it spells their name. So everybody can't do that. So that's something that I'm proud of. And the most important thing is that we have the scholarship that I will take with me to my grave. That being able to get students. And Francis and Dr. Law, when you go to these ceremonies once a year, it's just heartbreaking to know how these people turn their lives around. Tears might come now, but tears come when you listen to those people and how much we can help them. So anybody that can put another dollar or whatever into that, it's well worthwhile. So thank you. One more thing. These guys in the white shirts, today they're here to back me up. Tomorrow they're going to roast me. So I'll let you know how that goes.
Mr. Chairman, the jokes just write themselves here, okay? We'll go to the overpaid people now, okay? James C. Brock. James C. Brock, Jr., at the time a lieutenant with the Pinellas County Sheriff's Department, came to St. Petersburg College in August of 1989 as an associate professor in the ethics department on the St. Petersburg Gibbs campus. And whereas Mr. Brock quickly gained the respect and trust of those he worked with and was promoted to instructor in charge of the Criminal Justice Institute at the All-State Center in 1992, and whereas Mr. Brock continued to prove himself as a more than capable administrator as he became program coordinator for workforce development training and program director and later director of the Criminal Justice Institute and the Southeastern Public Safety Institute, and whereas Mr. Brock established and maintained outstanding working relationships over the years with 19 local fire agencies, 16 local police agencies, which provided mutually beneficial as more than 90% of this county's current police officers and firefighters have been trained at St. Petersburg College. Under his supervision, more than $33 million in federal grants through contracts with the National Guard and other agencies for the training of military, local, state, and national law enforcement officers in counter-drug and counter-terrorism tactics and techniques were administered. And whereas Mr. Brock was named Associate Provost of the All-State Center in 2000 and oversaw the creation of the Bachelor of Applied Science degree in Public Safety Administration, he also helped create online Associate in Science degrees in Fire Science and Crime Scene Technology, making St. Petersburg College the first in the nation to offer those degrees entirely online. And whereas Mr. Brock became Provost of the All-State Center in 2004 and with others developed the college's emergency preparedness plan, he will long be remembered for his outstanding leadership skills, his innovative and creative ideas, and his love of students and learning. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the St. Petersburg College Board of Trustees and the total college community hereby recognize and appreciate the outstanding contributions to the college and to the community by James C. Brock, Jr., and extend to him our best wishes for enjoyment through the years ahead. Said resolution being adopted and approved by the Board of Trustees this 17th day of June, 2014. Hear, hear.
They gated in between the Simpsons.
Thank you, Dr. Law, very much. I appreciate it. I've had the great opportunity of spending my career of almost 38 years at two great agencies, the Sheriff's Office of Pinellas County and then here at the college. And not many people get the opportunity to stay in the same arena of public safety and have two very different aspects of it. So when I thought of comments this morning, the number one word was opportunity. I've just had enormous opportunity over the last 25 years here and working under the leadership of 3 sheriffs and 3 college presidents, one being Tom Furlong, who I think I saw here, short-time interim, and most recently Dr. Law, has just been an outstanding opportunity. As most of us men, we are what we are because of the women behind us. My wife of 34 years, and then Eileen LaHaye. Eileen and I have been together for over 22, I think, at the All-State Center. Carol Mashburn, who has been my admin and could not have offered any more support for us, and at the All-State Center, and myself has been a great asset. And not a female, but Brian, who's our dean, is really has been the foundation of the All-State Center. And finally, let me recognize Dr. Karen White, who was responsible for bringing me to the college way back in 1989, another female, and all of my colleagues, especially the provost and Dr. Tanja Williams, another female. It's just been a great ride, great opportunity. Could not have scripted anything better. And as Mike Ditka says, yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery. Seize today, and that's what I plan on doing, is just seizing the todays. I'm going to have the week will be 1 day of Sundays and 5 Saturdays, so 1 day to rest. So thank you all very much. Best of luck. Thank you, Dr. Ross. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Good morning. All right, so we're right down to the recognitions, board comments. Any comments from any board members? None?
I just had one comment. Concerning the last 2 or 3, we have a lot of big shoes to fill. So on behalf of the board, thank you for all the service, those that are retiring today. And I think the last board meeting, we also saw some integral people leave. So big shoes to fill.
Is JC's gone?
Yeah, he didn't spend much time.
Oh, he's gone. Oh, well, I was just going to have him stand up and tell him I don't have anything good to say about a Seminole anyway. Joe Smith, is he still here? Joe, let me just say this. Joe, thank you for all the years of service. I was a little newbie in the Young Republicans and ran into Joe Smith, and here's a gentleman that has been nurturing and helping men, especially African-American males, for a long time. Anytime you needed a good word or you needed good advice, he was always there, whether it was related to the college, whether it was related to personal, whatever. But you are going to be irreplaceable, and you will be missed, and we appreciate all you've done. I know you'll continue nurturing, you and your wife, but you will be missed on our campuses. Thank you, Joe. All right. Where's JR?
JR, did he?
Did he leave? Is he still here?
back in.
JC walked back in.
All right.
Oh, okay. JC, stand up. I agree with Dr. Law. I agree with Dr. Law. You were overpaid. No, I'm just kidding. JC, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. JC. And you still would have been overpaid. JC, Brock, on a serious note, let me say this. In the law enforcement community, he has been well respected as a law enforcement officer. But yet again, we're losing someone who came to this college, who has done a great work. When you see professional law enforcement, firefighters, any persons of first response, they've probably been trained right here at St. Petersburg College under his leadership. He took it seriously, and I can tell you that JC was always there for anybody who needed guidance in terms of law enforcement, but just general things related to the college. He was always the first one to say, hey, I can do that, to pitch in. And JC, you'll be missed. We really appreciate. I can't believe I'm saying so many things, nice things about a Seminole, but but JC, you will truly be missed, and don't get lost. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
JR is not here, but let me just tell you, I've had the privilege of knowing JR for about 8 or 9 years. And here's a gentleman who believes in scholarship, so much so to the fact that I told Dr. Law yesterday that me and my family are going to try to raise $100,000 in scholarship every year. Because of people like JR, young people have been able to better their lives and themselves. And so he is much appreciated. You know, he served on this campus in a lot of capacities, but the main thing is he bought into the corporate culture of people coming to college, bettering their lives, and moving forward. And that's what this is about. You know, you guys have a corporate culture within the organization, and he's caught on to that, and he wants to see young people come through, do well, and be a positive part of this community. And, you can't put an amount on what JR has done for this college, so we appreciate him as well. All right, so I have to have an adoption to accept the resolutions.
I have just a couple of quick announcements.
Okay, I'm
Chairman,
sorry.
okay.
I was
All
gonna
right,
come
just,
to you, Dr.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But that was up here, so I want to go back
Okay,
and do
gonna
that
do
one.
comments?
We got to
Okay.
get these resolutions
Go
adopted.
for it. I'm sorry.
Can we
Thank
do
you.
that?
Chair, you have a motion to adopt the
Do I
resolution.
have a second?
Second.
All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And now we're down to Dr. Law's
I'm
comments.
sorry to cut you off.
No, that's all right.
Jeff Kavanaugh, where's Jeff? Come on.
Oh, great. Did we win the veterans thing this year?
I told him to be ready to talk.
All right,
His-
okay.
his Clock's
All right.
running, okay. Now,
Thank you very much, Dr. Law. I have 60 seconds, and he is timing me. Thank you, Dr. Law, and also board members. This past year, the Florida State Legislature passed the C.W. Bill Young Act. This act has a provision that will allow state colleges to waive the out-of-state tuition portion for veteran students. And well, they should. These members of our Department of Defense have served for the United States and not for each individual state. And this will allow them to basically attend any college within the United States that they wish on the GI Bill. We are already receiving probably between 6 and 12 calls a day from students from the Arctic North that suffered through this past winter in places like Illinois or Ohio, and asking us about the waiver and about our school. We're already well known as a military-friendly school throughout the country and throughout the DoD, and word of mouth is one way to get the word across, especially among the military. We were trying to think of another way that we could get the word out about what it's like to come to St. Pete College and what a great school it is, its military-friendly attitude, and what we have to offer in the state of Florida. So working with our marketing department, instead of using uniforms and dog tags and whatnot in the ads, and I'll let you tell them the real reasons. But we came up with an idea that conveys to them what we feel is the gist of coming to St. Pete College. And on your desks, board members, you will have a shirt also that is a presentation from us, that has our St. Pete College Veterans logo on the front, and on the back, it says, quite simply, it's a beach scene, and it says, "Picture yourself here." And it's a big shirt. Thank you very much.
Great work, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff does a wonderful job with that. We have two other handouts very briefly. I just want to follow up. After our board meeting last month, and we take some time to produce two documents that we share throughout the year. One is a summary of the of the budget of the college, so that when we go to civic clubs or other places, we can tell people where our money is, how our value is being spent. We use it internally as well as externally. Makes a great impact with legislators and other civic leaders so that they can understand what our decisions mean in terms of supporting student success. So we put a great deal of energy into that document. And then we will produce the college experience report every single semester, because we think the work that we're doing to improve student success rates is, in fact, first of all, it's most important to our students, and we're proud to do that. It's attracting a great deal of national attention, so we wanted to have high-quality documents that we can use when our people make presentations nationally, or if we're at the state level or whatnot. So these are just the kind of run-of-the-mill, but I thought both of them made a nice presentation, and they certainly reflect your leadership and your support. So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you.
Dr. Law, can I piggyback on that for just 1 second? I want to clarify something. At our last board meeting, some folks ran out after our last board meeting and said the college is in trouble financially. So I just want to go on the record and say we we did not give raises because we are not in financial trouble. We look at our budget and then we determine whether or not we can give raises based upon enrollment. And so we held that back until we see what enrollment looks like. So I just want to be on the record. Nobody in this room did it, but I just want to be on the record that St. Petersburg College is fiscally sound. Because you have some groups running around now saying that we can't give folks raises because we're in financial trouble. If that were the case, Doug wouldn't be here. So I just want to be on the record.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman. We go and meet with the career employees on every campus now. We give awards, recognitions,
Sure.
whatnot, and we have a family discussion about where we are, and I mimic the same thing. I don't know a single president who wouldn't be happy to trade their problems for ours.
I would agree, but I just
so-
wanted to make that
I appreciate
clarified
that.
because like I said, there's some groups who don't live in glass houses that are throwing
Wow.
rocks, so,
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I would be happy if they would address their questions to me.
Well, I will make sure I take that back to the community and make sure that's known. And so we are approval of the minutes from May 20th. Are you done, Dr.
Yes,
Law?
sir. Thank
Okay. The approval of the meetings from meeting of May 20th. I need a motion, please.
So
I have a motion and a second, so all in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
None opposing. We move on to our board attorney. Hey, Mr. Lang, how are you?
I'm doing fine, sir.
Good. Do you have a report today?
I have no report to make today.
Okay. I know Ms. Gardner does. How are you, Ms. Gardner?
I'm fine. How are you
Good,
doing?
Good, good.
Good morning. I have two other booklets for you. They're in front of you. The first one is the new law summary, and that's the booklet that we put together each year, which features the summaries of bills from the 2014 legislative session, which impact the Florida college system, and in particular, St. Petersburg College. It is compiled by the staff with assistance from Ed Woodruff and the Florida college system lobbyists. Attached to that is a two-page legislative chart of the 16 bills that are featured in the summary and impact the college as well as the charter school. This chart is going to be placed up on the Board of Trustees website and will contain links to the most recent versions of those 16 bills, as well as the effective dates and the different departments that are impacted by them. Each of the departments of the college is working to implement any of the needed changes of the bills that are approved. There are several that are enrolled and not signed by the governor yet, but we are pretty close to the end of the session. The summary covers the General Appropriations Act, the conforming education bills. There's information on within those bills on PICO restructuring, on baccalaureate programs, some information on dual enrollment. Within the education bills, there is some provisions related to collegiate high school programs and dual enrollment. There is also the bill on tuition. There is also the part of the bill that pertains to waiver of out-of-state fees for certain students. I think that's more commonly known as the DREAM Act, which primarily impacts undocumented students. There is also some other information as to some tweaks and some minor changes to the provisions on residency for tuition purposes. There's also, as part of the summary in front of you, some provisions related to education certification programs and some changes in requirements and training. Also, for the nursing educator programs, there's also some changes to requirements and clinical training requirements. As Jeff stated, the GI Bill, which was the first one to be signed during the session, allows for waivers for out-of-state fees for any honorably discharged veterans who are enrolling in Florida and are physically here. Also, there is the bill on the reenactment of the FERPA provisions, which was expiring and now is reenacted in law. And there's also several bills that impact the charter school. The second booklet in front of you is the Board of Trustees' authority and responsibilities, which covers board governance. This is the 2014 update of that booklet, and it basically includes several of the provisions that are changed in the Florida statutes, as well as provisions that were updated during the last year in the State Board of Education rules. So if there's any questions, please let us know, and I'm sure that we can get you analysis or answer your questions as they may come up.
Board members, any questions, comments?
Just a comment. Thank you. It's, legislation isn't always easy to read. It's made by committee, which all means we get a camel, usually when we're trying to make a horse. But you have boiled it down to the nuts and bolts, and when I can sit here in 10 minutes or less than that and read through all this, obviously you did something well. Thank you.
Mr. Lang?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to join in commending Ms. Gardner. She does a wonderful job of synopsizing what the legislature does. And moreover, I learned just today that Ms. Gardner's been certified, only one of 2 college attorneys, board certified by the Florida Bar in the state of Florida.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ms. Gardner.
Thank you very much.
Any other board member comments?
Wow.
I'll close it out by saying, Ms. Gardner, thank you. You do an excellent job. Dr. Law, thank you for this. This is like right, brief, and to the point, things that we need in terms of how it impacts the college. And this is great for us. Thank you so much. Any other comments or no? We're moving on. We're down to strategic priorities.
Mr.
and
Chairman.
Baccalaureate review. Next
Mr. Chairman,
steps.
members of the board, obviously a topic of very high interest and currency, and I thought it would be important for us to make sure you have the latest information and the overview. There will be more dialogue. We'll talk a little bit about what happens next, but let's let the presentation take place so everybody has the facts as they are, and then we'll see where we go from there. The usual suspects, Dwan Fox and Jesse Carraggio, these are...
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Law. As he said, we're going to walk through a presentation on the baccalaureate update and provide some next steps or some legislative language that happened here recently that you just received from Dr. Gardner. I thought it was important for us to start with the history and provide what led us down this journey for baccalaureate education, which started with a master plan for post-secondary education that was implemented in 1998. They identified the state was not prepared to meet economic demand for baccalaureate education. The following year, the legislature sought approval for community colleges to seek baccalaureate education, and we jumped 2 years ahead of that, and St. Petersburg College was the first college to answer to that initiative, and we implemented 3 degree programs in workforce areas of education, information technology, and nursing. To date, we offer about 22 baccalaureate degrees, serving nearly about 5,500 students this year, and graduating more than 1,000 students per year. In a recent report initiated by the Florida College System on the impact of baccalaureate at Florida College System, I had this chart in, and I thought it was important for us to include here. It said that opportunity for students with a baccalaureate degree received from the Florida College System, their average earning was $18,000 more a year than those students who had an associate degree. So that just gives us the opportunity, and what we're doing here at St. Petersburg College has really impacted the students and their careers. As I talked about the growth of baccalaureate programs, back in 2003 we had 3 programs. We now have 22. 5,500 students, which is equivalent to about 12% of our complete enrollment for the college. So far this year, we graduated 921 students for fall and spring. With our summer graduation pending in late next month, we will have over 1,000 students again this year, and that represents about 20% of our total graduates for the college. Another impressive chart, you can see our 6-year enrollment trend. You can see we had some significant growth in 08, 09 when we were in a recession. Even though our economy is starting to recover, we still have growth in our baccalaureate programs. About 5,500 students we're serving this year. As a current list of all of our programs we offer, most of our students fall in the College of Business, Education, and Nursing, which are workforce areas. But we do have some niche market programs for as dental hygiene, orthotics and prosthetics, paralegal studies, and public policy are some of those areas that we really target a small select group of students. one important feature of all of our programs is the workforce emphasis, and they're very workforce-oriented. All of our programs require some kind of contact hours for real-world life experiences, for students can gain that knowledge in the classroom and then apply it in the real world. All our programs offer some type of internship or some authentic learning experience. In the College of Business, I think Dean Nisto may have presented to you the business simulation that they do in the College of Business, which competes across the nation, across the globe, with 300 universities, with students who own their own athletic footwear company, and they compete and they run the day-to-day operation from beginning to dealing with corporate responsibility issues, HR issues, and they actually manage this company through the whole program, 16 weeks. Another vital input for our program is our program advisory boards, to make sure that our students are gaining that relevant knowledge, and when they walk and they graduate from the college, that they can use those skills. So we really lean on our program advisory boards, and each one of our baccalaureate programs have an advisory board that we utilize for those kind of things. And here we have a snapshot of our student profile for our fall 2013. We had nearly 4,000 students enrolled. Our students are older, with 38.6 being 36 or older.
That's not older.
Older than
That's not older.
older than the traditional students of
Okay, just
18
so
to
we're all
21
clear.
at USF, but we're really much older student population
So we're all
there.
clear.
Thank you. Our students are part-time, with 3/4 of those students only taking 8 credits hours, so they're really working individuals taking classes at a part-time schedule. Most of our students are female, which the demographics reflect gender and diversity of the institution. Later on, Jesse will share some information about our diversity and how it fluctuates between our different programs. But most of our students are online, with 60% of those students taking online courses. And one key feature as well, you can see that only 218 of those students were new students to SBC. So these students had taken classes before, went off, came back, been working for a few years, come back to St. Petersburg College to get their baccalaureate degree with us.
Thanks, Dewan. Among Dewan's many roles here at the college supporting academic services, he's actually our baccalaureate liaison with the state, so he serves in that capacity. We're going to look at a lot of profile information as we go forward in this presentation, and we just actually met yesterday with some of our colleagues from USF Tampa and USF St. Pete to have some conversations about articulation and moving our lower division students where it makes sense onto their programs and having successful academic pathways for those students. But one point you're going to see as we go through this presentation that becomes very obvious is our baccalaureate students are non-traditional students. When we talk about competition that may exist between the state colleges and the university, once you look at the data, there really is no competition. We're talking about very different needs of the students and very different student groups, and this will become apparent. As we like to start with our outcome measures, we'll start with course success. As you can imagine, our baccalaureate students are much more successful than our lower division students. They've already made it to that part in their academic career. So as you look in the comparison there, we're up in the mid 80%, with a little bit higher in our summer terms for our baccalaureate students. And in the comparison, the line that you see there, that's a 6-semester average for lower division. And on average, they're about 73.8%. This is retention rate information. As we look at data fall to spring and fall to fall, basically the way this is calculated is we take our base set of students that will have an initial fall term, and then we compare on who's either graduated since or returned that following term. So when we look at fall to spring, our retention rate is 87.2%. That's actually, believe it or not, a few points higher than some of our neighboring university. For fall to fall data, you can see it's 79.5%. In comparison to lower division, if we look at our first time in college students in lower division course, you're going to see their fall to spring is going to be in the 80% range, and their fall to fall is going to be in about the 60% range. So you can see much higher retention commitment by our baccalaureate students. In terms of graduation analysis, you can look at the 6-year baccalaureate trend. As Dewan mentioned, we're graduating at about 1,000 a year. You see the asterisks on that last 13-14. We don't have our summer data in there yet. But we've produced 7,355 graduates since we started the baccalaureate program, and we're routinely having 1,000 graduates a year. We currently lead the other 22 state colleges that have baccalaureate programs, probably not past the next couple of years. Our closest competitor is Miami-Dade College. You know, they have 3 times the enrollment they have. They have about 100,000 students. So by metrics, they'll eventually catch up with us probably in the next year. So So we're going to look specifically at graduates in this next comparisons, and we're going to look at the 1,157 graduates that we had during the 12-13 academic year. This is going to cover 22 different baccalaureate degree programs, 11 are BAS programs, and 13 are the baccalaureate of science programs. This is a first comparison, and we look at gender ethnicity. You can see we have a high percentage in female in most of our programs. The closest, it's about half and half, is our business management program, where we have about 48% male graduates from that program. And we look at minority representation in terms of our graduates. Our highest is actually going to be in nursing, where a third of our students are minority students. This is closely followed by business management at 28.3% and our other health programs at 28.1%. Time to degree also reflects the commitment of our students. The vast majority of our students are part-time. They're taking a part-time enrollment as they come through our program. However, they move quickly through the program. Average time to degree is about 6.7 semesters. Almost all of our graduates were here for at least one summer term, and 16% had all summer terms during their tenure at the institution. This, I believe, has come to the board's attention previously, but this is the recent legislative changes that went during this last legislative session, and essentially there's been a moratorium put on the placement of new baccalaureate programs for state colleges. As part of this legislation, there's an intent to do a statewide program review of all baccalaureate programs. We haven't gotten the details yet. I mean, there's still some discussion on what that might look like and what it might include. But there's also going to potentially be some new guidelines for new program development as we move forward in comparison of the workforce needs of those programs. As you may remember, we brought formally to the board a signature on a letter of intent for a new baccalaureate program we were in the process of creating in arts and entertainment. That's halted as a result of this moratorium. We made it through the first proposal phase. We made it through the comment from other institutions in the state phase, and we're ready to start developing the full proposal. So we'll continue to work on that, but we can't actually send that to the State Board of Education until this one-year moratorium is completed. And then we routinely report data to the state. Our next yearly accountability report is due August 15th, and there's an example of some of the types of information that we provide, detail on a program accreditation, enrollment graduate data, and then information on successes or unique features of our programs. So in general, these are some noteworthy observations when you compare our students to typical university students. Our students are going to be older. As we talked before, the median age is 31, and over a third are over the age of 36. They're committed, almost 90% complete within that 3-year period, and almost all enroll at least one summer term during their tenure. Employed, 79% are employed with an average annual wage of $36,880 for education majors and higher for non-education at $52,254. This information, and you'll see it's a little bit dated, but it's information that's provided from the state. At a previous morning meeting, we had gone on to the Smart College Choices website. There's a link there, but you can actually go in there and see all of our programs, not just baccalaureate, but lower division, upper division, and for any comparison around the state of Florida. And then finally, they're local. Over 3/4 of our graduates, I believe it's like 78, 79%, actually had their previous degree from the local area. So it's not as if in most cases we're bringing students from other places in Florida, but truly this is about what the intent of the mission was, and it's about access for our students here in our local community. Any questions?
Any questions, board members, comments?
What, and I keep asking, and I don't think we may not know the answer, but the year-long moratorium on bachelor's degrees, do we know what they're, I mean, they're going to do an analysis of workforce needs, but do we know what else they're going to be looking at? Do we know the purpose of the moratorium? I mean, I'm thrilled to see that it's only 1 year, candidly. That 1 year isn't gonna hurt us based on these stats. But at the same time, it does not, by all accounts, we are not competing for the same dollars. We just aren't. We're not competing for the same students.
I spoke with the chancellor last night and to find out if I could get an update on this. There is a meeting today with some legislative leaders to outline exactly what that study will look like. So as soon as we get word on that, we'll let you know. I'm with you. Only in Florida could we look at something like this and question its usefulness.
Right.
I mean, I think as more comes out, that the pressure to move forward in this will take place. I don't know the answer to what exactly people think will be where we go from here. I intend to be very aggressive on the part of St. Petersburg College. We have the biggest program. We have arguably the most successful programs. When you're doing 1,000, 11, 1,200 graduates a year, you have information on which you can speak with some insight and authority. On the other hand, we have the most to lose if it goes in a different direction. So I intend to be very, very aggressive in our presenting our data as we move forward and what it means to us. I do not know what information they'll be collecting now. They have not given us guidance on that.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I want to make one or two other key points if I could, so that board members, as you get in discussions in your circles and in yours, there are two or three things. If we go, the percentage of credit hours that we offer, which is 12%, is often the metric that others will use to say, at what point have you really changed what you're doing? I don't think 12% has made any difference in our commitment to students, our commitment to the classroom experience, and any of those kinds of things. But I think there's a number out there where that it would be, if that number were 30 or 40%, then I think we would have a different discussion. 12% does not seem to me to be problematic in any sense of the word, especially given the nature of our programs. The other piece, you saw the impact on both women, but more importantly on minorities. I mean, I wish everything we did had 18, 20, 30% minority participation in the program, in the graduates and other kinds of things. So this has been very instrumental to help mid-career adults get a credential that will move them forward. And the last thing, I met with the folks from USF yesterday who were here, and they brought it up. There is not a single program on that list that President Judy Genchev did not sign off on in her office. And in fact, most of them started in her office saying, these are things that our friends in Pinellas County could do to take pressure off us from having to do them. So please feel free in your discussions to represent the very high quality working relationship between our organizations in all of this development. And as soon as we know, we have very strong support from Senator Jack Latvala on this. We'll keep you informed as to where it goes, but today I don't know what the next steps are.
Any questions or comments, board members? Dr. Law, for data purposes, I have two questions, and maybe we need to just try to, and if we don't have the answers, that's fine. I just want to, for data purposes, to be able to track some of this so that we can, when we present our arguments going forward, we'll have some of this information. How many of our students move on to some master's level program or enroll in a master's level program?
We could find that.
And number two, the cost savings to the state and the student for enrolling in St. Petersburg College as opposed to Florida, Florida State, USF, and so that we have that number when we begin to talk about and have this discussion. I think that's going to be vital and important to show the cost savings not only to the state but to the student, and they're able to go to school because they may not be able to afford going to a USF, driving to USF, paying for all the things that you have to pay for as a student, and this is a cost savings because it's here in the county. I think we need to have kind of all of that data compiled to show how students are successful and why students are successful as it relates to the financing of going to college.
We have that data, and that gap is ever widening.
Oh, I'm sure it is, but we need to have that.
How it's
We need to have that, and when I say I have that data, I think we need to go back all the way to the beginning and show what it costs every year, so that every year we can show the cost savings to the state, but also what it costs the student. That's important. 'Cause I'm going to tell you right now, some of these folks would not be going to college if they had to travel, or if they had to move, or they had to go, they just wouldn't. They wouldn't be able to create to go through a full baccalaureate program. They just would not.
when you're place bound with family, job.
All the things that they have to do, daycare, all the things that are here in the county that help them, that are right here, some of them even on campus, that help them to allow them to be successful. So I just think that some of that data may be critical
No.
when we start to make that
I
argument.
think you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
We-
so-
We intend to produce a 4-page, 6-page,
Good.
a document that all of us can use in our engagements and move forward. So we appreciate that very, very much. You know, my evaluation comes a little later in the agenda. Remember, I was suspect on this issue at the front door, but Mr. Chairman, I want to declare victory on this
Yeah, no.
as we move forward.
Oh, we've
Okay,
done
We're
that.
doing a spectacular job here, and the people making it work, our deans and others, really ought to get the credit for it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great presentation, gentlemen. We're going down to the budget, I think, now, right?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, you last month adopted the college operating budget.
Yes, sir.
That is not all of the budgeting for the college. There's a capital budget, there's a number of other budgets. I think it's worth a few minutes of time to, you don't have to approve any of these. These are sort of working trust fund budgets or whatnots, but I want to give you the information so that you know how robust our finance is, and to see other sources of funds that we use to support the notions of the college. Jamel will, it worked so well last month to have Jamel driving and 3 vice presidents answering questions that we thought we'd reprise that.
And that we're not in financial trouble.
No, we are not.
You don't think Jamel would lead us into financial trouble, do you?
No. No, we are not.
Good morning. So as Dr. Law mentioned, today we want to go through the other budgets besides the operating budget that you approved last month. So we're going to take a look at the student activities budget, auxiliary, the scholarship fund, and the capital outlay construction budget. The capital outlay construction budget is the one budget that we will be looking for your approval on today at the end of the presentation. I wanted to put this chart up to show where student tuition and fees, which are part of what you approved last month, do drive these other budgets. And also we take the other decisions you made, such as the fact that we're looking at flat enrollment for lower division and the 3% enrollment growth for baccalaureate. That all flows through to these other budgets. So the student activity budget is fully funded from the student activity and service fee that students pay. The capital outlay budget is somewhat funded by the capital improvement fee. And then the scholarship budget is somewhat funded by the financial aid fee, and we'll go in more detail. So looking at the student activities budget, the student activity service fee is restricted in that it can only be used to fund activities related to students at the college. It can't be used for any other purposes. When we first look at what we have for revenues coming in for the coming year, we take 25% of that budget and allocate that to the Student Government Association on campus for each of the students. It's a really good, very practical learning experience for them. They are allocated a budget. They then must determine how they believe they're going to spend that budget. They come present that in front of their peers, Dr. Williams, Dr. Law, of what they're going to do. Each of the campuses then put together their own methods of how other students can come to them on campus and request money and what that approval process could be. And then they come back again to us at the end of the year and say, this was our budget, this is actually what happened, and what they learned from this experience. So then when they go out into the workforce, they can really put on their resume that they know how to manage a budget, and a $1.3 million budget at that. Also in the student activity budget is $1.3 million allocated to our athletics program, $2.3 million, which are to fund our student services personnel and other college-wide campus activities for students. And with this budget, it leaves us with just under a $250,000 balance for contingency. Our auxiliary budget has various sources of revenue. This is revenue that does not come from state funding, students, so it's things like bookstore commissions, royalties. We get ground tower leases. For 14-15, we're looking at a $3.5 million budget. We have some minor expenses within that fund operationally that we need to cover, which is the $257,000. The majority of that budget for expenses are transfers out to other funds. And part of the operating budget that you approved last month included fund transfers in from auxiliary, and this is where that money's coming from. The overall fund balance for this auxiliary cost center, which means that's money we have in our fund balance that we haven't used and it's available from prior years, is $7.8 million. But just to give you an idea of what we're transferring over to spend in our operating budget, it's $3.15 million. There's the student textbook credits that we provide and give students opportunities for. We fund in the operating budget $500,000 for student assistance, $300,000.
I'm sorry.
You
You said 500.
It's $500,000 overall in the operating budget, but we fund $300,000 of that from our auxiliary fund. $114,000 for senior citizen waivers. And then the student loan default rate reduction that was part of one of your objectives, $155,000 we're funding from some one-time money in the auxiliary cost center. There's also $1.6 million for other institutional programming support. And that's for various things, including additional library resources, marketing, to support international programs, the foundation, different areas such as that. And then we also provide discretionary and community relations funds for the provost and other areas in the college. We cannot buy things such as food using state money or student money, so this is a way that we can fund those types of needs without using those sources of revenue. The scholarship fund has several different sources. All of the money that comes in for scholarships then goes out the door the same year. So we're looking at this year having almost a $64 million budget for scholarships. $54 million come from federal and other state grants. $2.5 million come from that student financial aid fee, and then we'll award scholarships from those monies that come in. $6.3 million are state of Florida scholarships that will be awarded. And then there's another $1.3 million that come from our own St. Petersburg College Foundation and other scholarship monies that we have that we can award. And now when we look at our capital construction and outlay budget for the coming year, it's looking at a $40.2 million budget, $8.4 million, which is recurring from that student capital improvement fee that we're looking to get within the 14-15 year. $2.3 million of that budget is for construction bond payments, and that's an annual amount that we use to pay back bonds that we've gotten previously. $25.2 million are major construction projects, which we spoke about last month, and I'll have another slide on. $5.1 million for deferred maintenance and infrastructure, and then $2.3 million on campus remodel expenses. The provosts each get campus discretionary money of $1.2 million for major equipment and renovation and remodel. And then we've designated $1.3 million to other campus projects that are a priority that aren't one of the big major construction projects that we've discussed. And then we have just over $1 million of internal personnel costs, which are our own construction personnel. And that budget would leave us with a $1.7 million contingency for next year, just under $500,000, that's a recurring contingency. This slide shows the $1.2 million campus discretionary funds that we provide to each campus, broken out between major equipment and renovation remodel. And these are the overall project costs for these major construction projects. The Midtown project is ongoing. The Clearwater Library will be partially funded by the college and then partially funded in coordination with the city. And then we receive the rest of the money for the Bay Pines project. Are there any questions?
Board members, any questions, comments?
Very well done.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, you see
We're
how
financially healthy.
and we try to be
That's
pretty
it, that's it,
artful
we're
about
healthy,
paying
Dr.
things where it's most logical to pay one-time things so that they're not a drain on the operating budget, so we can use that for operations. So I think Doug and Jamel and the vice presidents have done a good job of sorting all this out. Good flavor for the campuses. They have a couple $1 million to spend. The students do a fabulous job determining, I don't have to choose which club I like the most. The students end up making those choices themselves. They learn the leadership skills of saying yes to some things and no to others. So I think all of this is very healthy, and we'll continue to grow this in ways that make sense in support of our strategic objectives. So Jamel, vice presidents do a fabulous job.
I just had one question. The contingency fund in each one of those, is that a percentage, or is that just dictated by history, that the various amounts?
It's actually different for different ones. So for the student activities, we actually take 5%, and that automatically becomes a contingency. For the capital outlay budget, we look at what money we hadn't spent in the prior year, and we look to use that, as Dr. Law said, for one-time funds, but we always want to make sure that we have some available there, so we leave a couple million in the bottom line.
There were, maybe in the fall we'll do it again. As we looked at funding capital projects, because we didn't have PICO money, we have an artful mix of one-time checks that we've written out of the fund balances, and then ongoing commitments out of current funds, but we never let the current funds overrun the cost of it. We'll go back through how those projects work, but I think, Doug, we said we would never spend more than 50% of the capital improvement fee that we're collecting any year for fixed projects. Those have to go to ongoing projects, roof repair and that sort of stuff. We'll schedule that presentation again. Just again, new players, new dialogue. It'd be great to have Mr. Oliver in the room when we do that. You know, it is what it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Jamel, where do we adopt the capital improvement? Is that later on in the?
That's actually right
now.
Go
Okay.
back
All right.
one.
Good enough.
Go back one.
Jim Wachter will, I'll tee it up. I think we have given you a heads up 2 or 3 months in a row that you have the responsibility to authorize at least the top priorities in a 3-year plan that is submitted to the state. We have shared that with you over a period of time. Now is the time to finalize that vote. I don't know if, we can see it better up there. Jim, why don't you just outline the top priorities? You see there's a lot of priorities. I'm going to take one more minute. It's an art and a science. If you approve this list, in theory, we can ask for any of these things. So sometimes in the legislative process, the dialogue takes off in a direction that says, well, we want to fund projects that look like this, and you want to have projects that look like this, so you do it. Now, when we go to lobby for what projects we really want, it's very important that you have identified the top 5 projects, so we can say this is our number 1, or our number 2, or our number 3. That has a lot of clout to it. So you see what happens. Jim, why don't you go ahead and outline the areas and then where we think the 5 top recommendations are.
Okay, good morning. This report is broken up into 3 sections. The first section is our renovation projects, the middle section is the remodel projects, and then the bottom is our new construction projects. And within those 3 groups, we are required to prioritize the top 5 priorities. This year, we are requesting that the administration building at St. Petersburg Gibbs, the replacement of that building, be our number 1 priority. Along the very left-hand margin of this report, you see those priorities. So down in the bottom section, number 1, the replacement of the administration building at St. Petersburg Gibbs is our top priority. Second, up in the top section is our general renovation remodel money. That's things like air conditioning improvements, utility upgrades, site improvements, and so on. Our number 3 priority is the renovation of the health education annex building. That's the building about 3 blocks south of our HEC complex on Park Boulevard and 66th Street. 4-story building, only 1 of which is currently occupied. The other 3 floors require remodeling prior to occupancy. The number 4 priority is some work at the Tarpon Springs campus that will allow us to remove the portables, remove maybe some of the oldest buildings on that campus, some of the real small congested classroom facilities, and replace them all with a single classroom building in the likeness of maybe the Midtown complex or the Ethics and Social Science building at Clearwater. And then our number 5 priority is to build out some of the vacant space at the downtown center and enhance that facility for student learning and library facilities, perhaps maybe even some additional classroom spaces at downtown. So those are the top 5 priorities that we plan to submit to the state on July 1st. They will then feed into the legislative budget request that the legislature will entertain and then hopefully approve and move forward next spring. Any questions about that?
I do, quickly.
Please.
I'm sorry. ADA compliance. Are we currently, what is our, I mean, it's 750,000 compared to the rest of the dollars, but what is our liability if we're not ADA compliant?
We are ADA compliant, and
Okay.
the way that works, Ms. Westing, is that as we go into spaces and do renovations and remodels, the code requires that we bring them up to current ADA standards. That's where that money gets spent. We are currently compliant on all issues, and as they're identified through the course of upgrades and remodelings, obviously the enhancements that are made are funded by that.
Okay, so we're not in compliance and not prioritizing that. We're simply using it for future.
When you make a change, you have to update
Understand.
standards.
Understand.
Any more questions or comments? Dr. Law?
I think, I'm very pleased with these 5 priorities, but we're still ahead of the curve, but please understand that at the St. Pete Gibbs campus, that's a 70-year-old facility
ask how old it was, yeah.
you know, at some point, you're throwing good money after bad to just try to keep it operational. I think it's nominally the centerpiece of where we started this wonderful enterprise, right at the corner of 66th Street and 5th Avenue. My plan would be to build a facility that looks like the Midtown facility or the ES facility, put all the student services in one place instead of spread out around that long building. As I looked at the project list, and I'll finish with this, we have to then start looking more collegiate in everything we do. So getting portables off the beautiful Tarpon campus seems to me to be worthy of our best effort.
Yeah.
Getting not a 1950s, 60s building at St. Pete Gibbs, but a 2015 building at St. Petersburg Gibbs. So I think in each case, we would be, the same thing with the health center. It's served us fabulously well. It's looking a little shop-worn when we bring people in and do that. So I'm trying to get us to both meet needs and to upgrade the flavor along the lines that this board has encouraged. I think it's a good list.
Can I also ask about the indoor firing range?
Mm-hmm.
I don't, where would it be where's indoor firing range just?
Yeah, the indoor firing range is currently a standalone building immediately adjacent to the All-State Center.
Okay.
Because of the nature of what goes on in there, it endures a lot of wear and tear and requires essentially a complete refresh. So the vibrations, the lighting, the sound attenuation, all that kind of stuff literally takes a beating. And we have to refresh that facility every 10 or 15 years. It was done about 10 years ago now, so.
Well, the building, St. Pete Gibbs building, that building's gonna fall down just like the library. I think those are some priorities that we need to meet. And I definitely agree that campus at Tarpon is growing and too pretty to just have those portables on there. And, you know, that all goes into recruiting and enrollment. People want to go somewhere that looks like a college. And so I think your priorities are right on track, Dr. Law. Should be my comments. If board members don't have any more comments, I think we're looking for a motion to accept this capital budget.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposing, we've accepted our 2014-15 capital budget.
Thank you very much.
We have a capital improvement plan. We accepted that as well, or do we need to take both of those, Dr. Law?
No, you,
Because it's 2 and 3.
I think that was all one, wasn't it? I'm
Is that
sorry,
all in
so
one, Jim?
2 items there?
I just want to make sure the
Okay,
motion
right.
includes, for the record, items 2 and 3.
Okay.
It did.
Okay?
Real quickly on the financial report, as you know, we're coming down to the wire at the end of May. You recall that a couple months ago, I stated that our surplus would take a very quick dive toward the end of the year when the revenue starts to decline. And I think we went from about $7 million to about $2.4 million at the end of May. One of the drivers of that is that we had 3 paydays in May as well, so we had an unusually high payroll, and we will have a slightly lower payroll in June as a result. We still, you can see up there, we still have about $6 million coming, about $4 million from state revenue and about $2 million from lottery. So we're looking, there's still a little additional revenue from tuition. So we're looking at around $9 million to get us through June. I think we're in good shape. Just a comment, one budget that we did not show you, but is relevant to, I think, not only our financial health, but how we end up finishing the year, is that in our health, we have a sort of a separate health insurance budget that maybe at some point we'll go through that individually, but that health insurance budget right now has about an 8 million plus surplus in it. And so it's a very healthy plan, and it's really allowed us also to keep premiums down for next year as well for employees. So with that said, I think we're in good shape, and if there are any questions, be happy to answer them.
Doug, just to tie things together, I'm looking at the number, see where it says fund transfers in? That's
Yes.
the auxiliary money from the auxiliary budget that we just showed
Right.
you.
That's that amount that Jamel went through.
That's where that comes into the budget as a revenue item. Okay, so that you see how they're tied together. I think you see then that we're going to finish the year in.
It'll come right down. But we'll
sit around my
we'll be
kitchen
fine.
table. It's not always as robust at the end of the month. I mean, we're in really good shape. Doug, what did you say we have?
Could you repeat that, Dr. Law?
We have
What?
$7 or $8 million coming in before the end of the year. Is that what happens?
Right. We have, of course, the 2.4 surplus that we have now, and then we still have a little over $4 million from state revenue and about $2 million, a little over $2 million from lottery revenue.
So we think
That's what I have highlighted
the
up
surplus deficit is going to be, seems to me, you got a $150 million budget and a $3 or $4 million surplus. That's, in some sense, cutting it pretty close, but
Yeah.
3 or 4 million is not incidental budget management. One last piece, well, never mind, we don't have to do that. A lot of inside baseball here to get us to the finish line.
Yeah, we'll be in good shape. Any other?
Any comments? He said we're in good shape. Just wanted
Excellent shape.
Dr.
Good
Law
shape.
say we're in very good
We
shape.
are in excellent
All right,
shape.
just want to make sure.
Okay.
Any
All right, thank
comments, board members? Any?
No.
All right.
My least favorite thing?
Yeah, receivables and the write-offs.
Yes. Somebody fire that up, please. We go through this every year for you, but we work really hard. Students collect financial aid. There are lots of rules and regs as to them having to repay it if they don't follow through. Many do not. Now, just so people understand, our budget for financial aid this year, Michael, will be $152 million we will give out in financial aid. 152. That there are some students who walk away from their commitment, and it's a declining number each year. We've changed our processes, but it happens. The feds make us responsible if we don't collect the money back from the students. So we then have to write off any that we haven't been able to collect after a period of time. We're quite aggressive. The reality is we have $1.2 million that we need to write off, and that is a reduction of 23% from last year. We're taking yet additional steps in not letting students move forward at certain points if they don't have all the financial aid paperwork in and those kinds of things. So, we're managing this problem down. It's still a very frustrating problem. We don't have all we don't control all the variables here, and yet we end up having to make good on all of the defaults.
Dr. Law, at our session, we had talked about that, we're educators, we're not a collection agency. Have we moved on, and have we employed a collection agency?
We do.
And
Let
if
me
we-
make sure. I thought, was that not in the, I thought we were going to put that in the memo. Who's going to answer that question, Doug?
It may have been in there.
Yeah.
I want to make
sorry.
sure.
They receive a delinquent bill.
Yeah, we have actually two different companies that attempt to collect it at different stages. But we're running, last time I looked, about 35% overall collection of that money, and so.
What were we doing before? getting professional help, getting outside professional help?
Well, we've always had some level. We've enhanced it in the last couple of years by adding another level. From some other colleges used an agency that they were having a lot of success with, higher than ours. So we last year entered into a contract with them to help us, and it's paid off.
No, I think the question was, before we entered into outside help, what were we doing?
Oh, well, our business office does attempt, before it ever goes to an agency, to try to make, send letters and make contacts and collect some, and only then will it go to a collection agency.
Here's the hard
Correct.
part. We could, in fact, take people to small claims court. Now we have the 42-year-old single mother who's destitute, and we're going to institute a suit against her. I think I'd rather have a third party handle that for us, as opposed to us doing that, okay? Our best game is to counsel her better at the front door to be sure that we can avoid those situations. So things like this, we now are monitoring everybody who is signed up for courses in August and has told us they're going to be a financial aid student. We're now calling each, if we don't have a FAFSA on file for them right now, we're following up with them saying, we're not going to kick your financial aid into the start of the semester if we don't have higher confidence that you're going to be a financial aid student. And that's really where some of the problem came. We were, in order to try to help students, we were letting them get past the first day of classes, and then it didn't work out. We end up, I think we're culpable in that situation. So we've put a lot of stops in, and you see the number coming down. It will never get to zero, I will tell you, though.
It'll probably drop another 400,000 at least next year.
Dr. Law, I am comfortable with outside folks, but I just want to make sure that we have laid the groundwork and ground rules for these outside folks to know that these are still our students.
Yes.
And these are folks that we deal with. Because though they are not a part of St. Petersburg College and they're a contract, they're an extension of us.
Right.
And we should still handle these folks appropriately. And if they can be restored to some extent and may want to come back to college, we don't want them having a bad experience with a collection agency. So, I don't know, and listen, I understand they put themselves in this situation, but to the extent that we can make sure that it's a, for lack of a better term, a pleasant experience with the agency. I just think
They have other problems in their life.
Sure,
I mean, we're not
exactly.
Now, the reality, again, for the board, just so everybody can walk out with the same information, you can't get back in, you can't get any services until you clear your debt. So even though we've written it off from an accounting standpoint, the student still owes the money if they need to get back into the college or otherwise get a transcript or anything else. We haven't forgiven the debt. We've simply written it off our books from an accounting standpoint.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Thank you for your understanding.
All right.
It's a very difficult issue.
So we need, this is an action item, so I need a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moving second, I'll signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposing. We're down to the personnel report, Dr. Law.
There are 3 items, the usual monthly items.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Can we just take them up?
Please do.
If there's no questions or from the board members or any concerns?
So moved.
It's been moved, we take up D, all of D1, A, B, and C.
Second.
It's been second. All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposing. We're down to construction, design and build of the marine sciences at Bay Pines.
A much smaller project than we've dealt with previously. You remember we adopted rules where the president recommends either we're going to have a very detailed and I think enthusiastic community part of the plan. I don't think that's quite necessary for this one. It's a smaller project, so we won't be asking board members to identify community people to help us with it.
Sure.
It does require, at some point when we bring the recommendations back to you, that a board member sit with me and make the final selection, okay? So that part is still there. But for now, let's go with a design build on this one. It's a small, very specialized project.
Do you want us to designate a board member today while we're all here, while we're here? Because the person that's not here is going to get selected.
Mr. Chairman, that's a style of leadership we all recognize, if that's what you want to do.
I mean, does anybody on the board have a problem with that, with Mr. Oliver sitting with him on this project? I think he has a good background, most experience, and they've done this before, so, and I'm sure they'll keep us informed of what's going on. Do you have any reservation
Well,
with that?
that'd be fine.
The only thing I would do is make sure that his time allows
Yeah.
for it.
If his time allows and he's okay with it, then we would ask Dr. Law just to get this out of the way that,
Don't forget, this person doesn't have to chair the
No,
screening
they're just
committee.
sitting
They
with
just
you.
sit with me at the
Yeah.
very end. They have
Okay,
to sit
so
through the
if that's the
presentations and make
case,
the
then
choices.
would you have staff just check with Mr. Oliver, see if he has the time to do it, and if so, we will appoint him to be
We'll
that
use the
individual.
chairman's name when we contact him, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Mr. Gibbons asked us to call
Yeah, do
you.
that. Devron said. That's fine.
Thank you. We need a motion on that one, too, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
So moved.
Second.
it's been probably moving second. I'll signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposing. We are, sorry. Legal services with Baynard, McLeod, and Lang. I think we've been most happy, my comments would be, I think we've been happy with Mr. Lang, his legal services and his firm services to the board. I think we can take this one up if there's no questions or comments.
We're very happy.
Very-
I will happily move approval.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. I'll signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposing. We are down to academic matters, curriculum update, certification, and then the president's evaluation.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, maybe a little more detail than you would want. One of my goals, though, is to have you feel comfortable that we are very active in keeping our curriculum up to date, focused, changing to meet new needs. Dr. Cooper, please come to the microphone. And we've included a level of detail that gives you, I think, comfort that our programs are making changes that respond to needs.
Right,
So-
you have two memos. One is for our credit curriculum, the other is for our professional certification opportunities through corporate training. We like to keep things, as our president has shared, up to date, moving forward with employers' feedback, advisory committee feedback, and making sure that we're keeping up with changes within the field from our accrediting agencies, if that is one of our members. And so this is an ongoing process, very important to making sure that our students are graduating with the necessary skills to be successful in their particular career choice.
May I ask a question? When it says removed prerequisites, what does that mean? I mean,
If
I understand
they're-
both words, but I don't know what
Right.
it really means.
There may have been certain courses that we wanted the student to take before they got into that particular course, and if there are changes within that course, those prerequisites may no longer be necessary.
Okay.
And obviously, our faculty play a very important role in this process.
I think it also gives our students more flexibility.
We appear to have lost our quorum here, so we'll get everybody back.
Well, once we do have one back, I would make a motion to
Okay.
approve both the curriculum updates and the certification training.
Very good.
Oh, I'll ask another
There
question
we
while I
go.
have
There's
everybody.
There's the number.
What is deck side coaching?
Let's see, are you under certification training?
I am. It's a information technology, or I'm sorry, technology manufacturing.
Aye.
And it's one that has been requested by, driven by workforce needs.
Right.
We have a quorum now.
We have a quorum.
So if you would rather just shoot me, I'm just curious. To me, deck side means the side of a pool, because I have a competitive swimmer as a daughter, so.
We'll get you a
Yeah,
description of what that
Let me
entails.
get that
okay?
information for you.
Yeah, I do not. Why don't
Quorum.
you just chair?
So you want to say it again?
I move approval of both the curriculum updates and the certification training curriculum. And I believe we had a second while you were gone.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, President's evaluation?
Oh, great.
Okay.
I'm going to read this statement. And Dr. Law is giving you up to date. version of everybody's comments related to his evaluation. I'll read this statement and then I'll give my own comments, and we can go around, and anybody else that has any comments can also make some. Earlier this month, Dr. Law will have completed his 4th year as president of St. Petersburg College. As you know, one of the responsibilities of this board is to perform an annual review and evaluation of his performance over the past year. To that end, board members have had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Law individually and to complete a comprehensive written evaluation assessing his performance. The categories we reviewed included, but were not limited to, leadership, diversity of initiatives, planning and budgeting, board relations, and external relations. I've had the opportunity to review all of the evaluations and am pleased to report that they are exemplary. One of the principal charges given to Dr. Law at the start of his tenure was to refocus our efforts on the core mission of this institution. Dr. Law has performed this position of his responsibilities at the highest level of leadership. The college's College Experience Project has significantly improved the classroom success of our students across the board. His efforts included support for students beyond the classroom, improved systems to support intake, counseling, advising, and student activities, renewing community and school district relations, technology enhancements, facilities maintenance, remodeling and repair, and support and development of our faculty, administration, and staff. Our consistent superior audit reviews, budgeting, and strategic planning have been able to put into motion a plan for future success. President Law continues to be an effective spokesperson for the college in Tallahassee, and our college continues to perform at a very high level in the key areas of post-secondary education policy. In the past year, Dr. Law has been successful in moving forward with a complex development of the Midtown campus, the renewal of our online education program, and formulating a student-focused response to major changes in the state guidelines for developmental education. President Law continues to expand the college's commitments to workforce education across all levels of our college's instructional mission. In view of Dr. Law's superior performance as chairman, I would like to move that we extend his employment contract an additional year, as we did this year last time. This 1-year extension would be added on to his 3-year contract, thereby extending his employment agreement with the college through June 30th, 2017. While our review is limited to the performance of President, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the tireless efforts of all faculty and staff. Dr. Law prepared a written summary of progress over the last year, and in it, he specifically mentioned many of you individually and did so with high praise. Our faculty, administration, and support staff do a lot of the heavy lifting, and we know that. While Dr. Law provides leadership, expertise, and creativity to set the plan in motion, our success would not occur without your continued commitment to SPC and our students. On behalf of the board, we thank you. I will let any board members that have any comments at this particular moment or time go ahead and make your particular comments related to Dr. Law's evaluation.
We did that.
You have none?
We did that.
Well,
That's right.
I don't know if you want to do some of it publicly. You have to. So if that's the case, then I am looking for a motion to accept this extension of Dr. Law's contract.
So moved.
Second.
Been probably moving second. Any discussion? No discussion? All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposing. We have accepted this contract. And I would just like to add to my further comments that, there are many times, you meet people and you don't understand why they come into your life. Dr. Law has come into mind and make it pure hell. So, no. I'm just kidding. He knows that. I can truly say you meet people at different times in your life for different reasons. And Dr. Law has been one person that, he tells you like it is. He will agree to disagree, and we have done that too. But one of the things that's most important is you can't measure his heart for this college and for the students of this college. He has done any and everything to make sure that students are successful on these campuses. We're not just getting them in and not getting them out. He has gone above and beyond. And I never expected in a million years to have a president so mired in the details. You can talk to him about anything, and he can go almost down to the penny on these budgets. And then you talk about, black males, the initiative with the African American males, trying to get them out. He can talk through that, and it's like having a walking encyclopedia, which is good. And we appreciate you, and thank you for the hard work. We know it's not easy, and we can't tell you every day, but we're telling you today that we really appreciate all that you've done, so thank you. Along with the staff, and I'm going to say this, I did not just read that. That is true. I'm telling you, this document's a public record, so if you want to read it, he literally talked about many people who have met the challenges that he's put forth. He talked about some folks, being above and beyond where he thought they would ever be. And the heavy lifting he realizes is done on the front line, which is why he comes to us and asks for the budget to be put on the front line so that when these folks come in, that we're prepared to handle the task of those challenges that JR talked about earlier. So thank you again, Dr. Law. Thank you, board members, for taking the time out to make sure that we fully evaluate this gentleman properly. But it was a good evaluation process, and thank you again. Thank you to all the staff that does on a daily basis supporting him in his vision of St. Petersburg College. All right, so we're down to the consent agenda. There's no old business, and then we have one action item in here though.
I think.
Why don't we just take up the whole consent agenda?
Yes,
and let's move forward.
So moved.
I hear a motion and second.
Second.
There's been probably moving second. All signify by, is there any discussion? All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposing. We are down to the adjournment. The next meeting will be at the.
No, we have the.
We got.
We meet as the board of the.
We'll have to close this meeting out,
Yes,
right? And then open that
You
one.
just adjourn this one. We're going to.
Okay.
I think we come back to this very briefly. Yes.
Do we come back to this one?
Yeah. So we open.
But I still have to close it,
Right.
right? All right, so we're going to adjourn the St. Petersburg College Board of Trustees meeting, and now we are formally opening the St. Petersburg Collegiate High School Board meeting as the governing board. Ms. Metz.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for this opportunity to come before you to share some highlights of the year, as well as bring forth a proposed budget for your review and approval. At St. Petersburg Collegiate High School, we focus on 3 areas: scholarship, leadership, and service. In the area of scholarship, we are delighted that we have our first Gates Millennium Scholar this year and the second Gates Millennium Scholar for St. Petersburg College in Selena Psalm. Over 52,000 students applied for this honor, and only 1,000 students earned the honor nationwide, and we are immensely proud of Selena. What makes this award especially gratifying is that Selena's father is a member of our facilities team on the St. Petersburg Gibbs campus. So we are very proud of Selena. We are also thrilled that we had 2 SPC Apollo Award finalists. The Apollo Award is given out by the St. Petersburg College Alumni Association, and awardees are viewed as outstanding associate graduates. The winner is judged on scholarship, leadership, as well as honors and awards and service. Sarani is an outstanding student. She is our salutatorian as well as the National Honor Society president. Alia, the second young lady pictured, is our yearbook editor and the president of the Apollonian Society for the high school. Both of these young ladies were a part of the Honors College Conference, Honors College program, and presented their research at the SPC Honors College Conference and represented SPC at the Regional Honors College Conference. In addition, some academic accolades are our 79 graduates were awarded over $1.8 million in scholarships. We had 1 National Commended Scholar. 5 of our students were selected by Rotary International Youth Exchange to study abroad next year. 6 are staying right here in the fall at SPC to finish their studies. And some other notable colleges and universities our graduates will be attending include Johns Hopkins, American, Clemson, and New College. So we're very proud of our graduates. Another area we focus on at the Collegiate High School is community service. I believe that great leaders lead, and it's important for our students to offer community service to gain valuable skills that serve them well now as well as they continue their education. So some of the things that our students did as school-sponsored activities included beach and park cleanups, toys, food, and clothing drives, as well as serving as tutors through our National Honor Society tutoring program. They also served through the JA program. They gave 1,800 hours and impacted 100 Pinellas County School elementary classrooms. Our seniors gave over 22,000 hours of community service during their high school years. Leadership has been a focus at the Collegiate High School for several years, and through our Interact Club, our students looked at global issues that were of interest and concern to them, and this is a picture of some of our students at a quad event sharing what they learned. And they shared information about genetically modified foods, about the Red Hand Day for children who are exploited in other countries to serve as soldiers, as well as raise funds in conjunction with the West St. Petersburg Rotary Club for Purple Pinky Day to help fight polio. So wonderful opportunities for them. They also are seniors, 27 of them served as officers in either college or high school clubs and organizations. We continue to be a bronze level school as ranked by U.S. News and World Reports. This is a snapshot of our graduation and Bright Futures data over time. We're thrilled, of course, that we have 100% high school graduation. Currently, our AA graduation rate is 92%. We do have some students in summer classes, and we are hopeful by the end of the summer term that will go up to 99%. We have 1 student who will finish in December and earn her AA then. The Bright Future Scholarship data does need to be confirmed by Pinellas County Schools, and they have not yet conferred that, so we should have that data shortly. Recently, the FCAT data came out, and the end-of-course exam data was released. So we are very happy that we have a nice high end-of-course geometry rate of 96% for our sophomores. In reading, you may notice we had a nice increase there. We attribute that increase to our focused efforts over the past 2 years to infuse research-based reading and writing strategies in our classrooms. And last year, we extended the school day for our sophomores by 25 minutes to provide an uninterrupted block of time for reading. Our writing scores appear as though they've dropped a little bit, but keep in mind, with the 2013 year, the percentage of students meeting expectations needed to be a 3.5, not a 3. And then finally, we had 100% of our students who passed the end-of-course exam for biology. Are there any questions?
Board members, any questions, comments?
Thank you.
Ma'am, thank you.
The next item is the budget, and I apologize that it's very small, but I will try to go over it briefly with you. I know you have a copy of it as well. Keep in mind that the funding for St. Petersburg Collegiate High School is separate from the college. It is the K-12 funding because we are a public charter school. And if we take a look at the total revenue and our funding sources, if we take a look, our projected FEFP for the Florida Educational Finance Program, that's the FTE per student allocation, is $1,240,982. Our capital outlay funding, we're projecting $88,400. And then the capital outlay reserve of $46,690 for a total estimated revenue of $1,376,072. If we take a look at the total operating expenses, you may notice a slight change in the total personnel cost. We are suggesting $875,834. 2 of my faculty members completed advanced degrees, which increased their salaries this year. And simply as a contingency, should you decide to offer an increase to all college employees, I have budgeted it, so I do not need to bring the budget back to you for an amendment. The next category, if we take a look at the current expense, the total current expense is $500,238. A couple changes there. You may notice I have to purchase some new textbooks for our chemistry classroom and some of our 10th grade classrooms, as well as I anticipated a slight increase in the cost of college textbooks. So that is a little higher. I was able to reduce our expense for computer leases. Our leases were up for 60 of our Dell computers. They are still in excellent shape. So I was able to purchase those, and we will use those in our academic resource lab and for our student laptop lending program. And that new amount is the cost of the lease for our mathematics classroom. They'll be getting new classrooms. We are dual platform, Mac and Dell. So 2 of our classrooms have Mac and 2 of our classrooms have Dell. So then if we take a look at the total current expense, that is $500,238, with the total budgeted expenditures of $1,376,072, and that would leave an estimated revenue reserve fund of $734,860. Are there any questions?
None being, no question, are there any questions? Well, thank you. We have to take a motion to accept the Collegiate High School's budget, proposed budget.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. All signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, none opposing. I accept the St. Petersburg Collegiate High School budget. Keep up the good work.
Yep.
Thank you.
And we appreciate all you do.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all of you.
Thank you for letting me join your graduation this year.
Thank you for being there. We really appreciated it.
It was impressive, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to now adjourn the St. Petersburg Collegiate High School Governing Board meeting and reopen the St. Petersburg College Board meeting. And I think we're down just to the President's report, because there's no proposed budget Board of Trustee rules manual changes.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I've listed 3 information reports, topics that you probably have seen in the headlines. I'm going to hold off on the accountability standards. Those need a little work. We've provided what we hope are useful executive summaries, Mr. Chairman, as a second one, of the federal initiative to decrease student loan debt and the Workforce Investment Act, which was reapproved. Again, we will just try to keep you informed informed on things that are coming over the horizon. And again, as members of, I'm sure people will stop you at the supermarket or coming out of church and say, how's that workforce, how's that student loan debt issue impact us? And we wanted to give you some information on that. Have only one other item. We will give you the details tomorrow. We will confirm it, but we anticipate a press conference about this time next week. Senator Jack Latvala has asked, we really want to celebrate the DREAM Act kind of thing, so we're going to be back on campus in Clearwater with a press conference. As soon as we have the details, we're working on those as we speak with his staff. We want to make it a very nice event. We'll make sure everybody is informed. If you can make it, please come. We're going to try to generate a significant crowd and good publicity for him. Mr. Chairman, no July board meeting?
Yep.
In August, among other things, to welcome back, the state law requires that the board organize itself the first publicly scheduled meeting after July 1st. So the board will choose its officers at that point. That concludes my report. Thank you all very much. Thank you, personally, thank you for your support. The meetings with each of you individually regarding the evaluation were very helpful for me to understand how to do my job better, so thank you.
If there is no other comments from board members, our next meeting is August 19th. Any comments? Meeting's adjourned. Have a good summer.